This is the talk show that takes a no-holds-barred approach to politics, where truth and integrity are the standard and the Constitution honored. From Renaissance Studios, this is Champion News Talk Radio.
Good morning and welcome to another great edition of Champion News Talk Radio. We're brought to you by championnews.net, and we are your choice for the conservative voice. This is Carol Parisi. Our founder, Jack Roser, and myself have Mr. C. Stephen Tucker with us today. He is the expert on Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. I don't know what you want to call it. I call it a train wreck. Good morning, Mr. Roser. How are you today?
Just fine. And we're lucky to have Steve on because he's an expert on the big mess that's going on with Obama and his single-payer medical service. If you wonder what single-payer means, it means you give all your money away to the government and they figure out what you should be having, not what you really want or need, but they figure it out and it's all paid for, and now you get a free education. Their schools stink on an international level. The United States, with all of the money they spend on education in this country, we usually rank at the bottom or the middle of things. It's terrible education.
So your point is now they want to do this to our healthcare system, the education system, and as I'm sure you're going to tell our listeners more about, but now they want to take over one system of the economy.
That is the point, the single-payer system. We lose control of our medical stuff. Your ticker, your head, your hands, whatever is in trouble, they're going to decide what you can get and when you do get it. And that involves you used to be able to pick what you wanted, what kind of car you wanted, where you worked, and whatever. That's your choice as a consumer. You're a consumer of medical care. That's you and your life and how long you're going to last and how well it's going to work. You ought to be the buyer, and you ought to be the one in control of your personal care. But no, this guy in the White House, well, I'm not going to call him a name. There's a book written about him, The Amateur. This amateur is trying to give us single-payer thing on our health care, and it's a stinking lousy idea when we lose control of the money and the care that we get. This is a bad deal for us taxpayers and living human beings.
Are they voting on it, Steve, again next week?
We're coming up with the next continuing resolution, which will be on September 30th. So this will be...
now, what does that mean, a continuing resolution?
Well, the Democrat Party, which had full control before we had our large majority wins.
It's a party for them. It's a
nightmare for us. Yes.
They have
not passed the budget in 4 years. And so that is a basic precept of government. You must balance the budget.
It's required by law.
Yeah, Illinois requires it. We have to have a balanced budget, not the government. So every 6 months or so, every 8 months, whatever it comes to be, we have a new argument on how much we're going to spend, right? And the House appropriates certain amounts to facilitate the normal functions of government. Well, September 30th, what our proposal is to continue to fund the normal functions of government, which means Medicare, Social Security, military, entitlement programs, everything but Obamacare.
And do you think lawmakers have the political will to do that? We're coming up to an election cycle, a political cycle here.
Yes, I don't believe Democrats do, but I believe all Republicans should. And unfortunately, we only have 138 co-sponsors of the House legislation to defund Obamacare, and we only have about 14 senators at this juncture. We need much more than that.
And but aren't the purse strings held by Congress?
Yes, yes.
But do we not still, do good guys not still have control of Congress?
We do. We have a 56-seat majority in the House of Representatives, where spending originates, if you read the Constitution.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, we have representatives like our Chief Majority Whip, Peter Roskam. We have representatives like Shimkus. We have representatives like Schock and Kinzinger, who refuse to defund Obamacare, to stop funding in the coming continuing resolution. They don't have
Say those names again, because these are all Illinois congressmen.
That is correct. And our Illinois Senator, Mark Kirk. Mark Kirk put his name on the letter, Mike Lee's letter, Senator Mike Lee's letter to defund Obamacare, agreed to support Senator Ted Cruz's amendment, and then less than 24 hours later, after pressure was applied to him by Senator Mitch McConnell, he removed his name.
Capitulated.
That's correct.
Zero political will.
That's correct. Now, I spoke with Congressman Roscom for over an hour on the statewide Illinois Tea Party call. And after I discussed everything I'm about to discuss with you, gave him all of these reasons why we should stop, his answer was, well, we'll probably wrangle enough Democrats. You know, we're going to beat this by lawsuits. It's going to implode upon itself. You know, these are all things we want to see happen. But he said, we don't pay shutdown politics. And what he refuses to acknowledge is that
we're not playing politics. This is policy.
This is policy, right?
He's playing politics for his own elevation.
Unfortunately, I believe that to be the case. Now, there's one congressman who has stood up and done the right thing in Illinois, and that is Randy Hultgren. He
Yay,
supports,
Randy Hultgren.
and we have to appreciate what he's done here, because it is a courageous thing to do, you know. But they feel that they're playing shutdown politics. But it would be the president who would shut down government. It would not be the Republican Party.
Perceptually, do you think the American people? I mean, all of this stuff is massaged and manipulated so profoundly that if the Republicans did take the right stance, the constitutional stance with the political will to do this, do you think the Democrats would then play the political perception game that it is the Republicans that are doing this? Is this what they're worried about?
Well, they blame Republicans for everything. Barack Obama blames the Republican Party for rain.
It's still
everything.
Bush's fault. Right. It's everything's still Bush's fault.
I mean, that's his modus. That's what he does. But the point is that the excuses that the Republican Party has been using since 2011. We won, the Tea Party movement and conservatives around the country won a large majority. We fired 680 representatives nationwide. It hasn't been done since the 1940s. This was our big wins in 2010. We took over the House of Representatives. We added some senators. It was good, right? And after that, we had our first opportunity to stop funding for Obamacare. And this was in number 6 of 7, continuing resolution number 6 of 7. The official bill was House Joint Resolution number 48. It was passed on March 15, 2011. Two people, Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann and Congressman Steve King from Iowa, championed the movement to stop funding for Obamacare on March 15th. All they told these new representatives was, hi, we control the House now. That's where spending originates. It's time to stop funding for Obamacare. And, by the way, Planned Parenthood. There were hundreds of millions of dollars allotted to Planned Parenthood on March 15th. So they went out and told everybody, hey, stand for the right thing. Fund the normal function of government, but don't fund Obamacare. This was 2 years ago on March 15th. Every representative in Illinois, all the aforementioned, Roscom, Kinzinger, right, everybody who was in office at the time, except for Congressman Joe Walsh and Congressman Tim Johnson, funded Obamacare on that day. Okay? And so did the majority of Republicans. Now, their excuses for doing so at the time were, well, the president's not going to get reelected. I mean, we've got the worst economy ever. No one's going to reelect this guy. It's never going to happen. So why should we take a stand now, right? Then their excuses to continue to fund Obamacare, and they've been continuing to fund it for 3 years now, was, well, certainly the Supreme Court, they'll strike this down, so why do we have to take a stand now, right? Those excuses are over.
Can I ask you something?
They've expired.
What about doing
Steve,
what's right just
Steve,
because it's right and not because of your political outcome?
Yeah, well,
Did these people get a clue already?
They're there to be reelected.
Steve, in a practical sense, it's very interesting to you talking about how this thing is cruising on like that. And you've been in this business selling insurance. What do you call your step in?
I'm an insurance broker.
You're an insurance broker.
Yeah.
So everybody comes to you to get
health insurance.
A bargain.
Yes. A good deal.
And if they don't like you, they can get. She's running a better place.
Free market.
Better buy her.
That's right.
That's okay. Now, my son Tom is running my company, Auto Engineering, and they've postponed it. But he previously, it's about 500 employees, and we have a company-run medical plan. Mm-hmm. He tells me the way things are going before they stopped it all of a sudden.
The employer mandate you're referring to.
That it was going to cost us $1 million a year more.
That's right.
Now, if that wouldn't be for better care, because we give very good. Our family care costs us about $17,000 a family.
Wow.
We're around $6,000 a person for single care. So we're already up at the upper end of quality, and they aren't going to do us any good, but they're going to cost us more money.
Mm-hmm.
So now we've had that shoved off for about a year. Are there any chances that this thing is not going to come back and cost us more for less?
Only if people do the right thing, right,
yeah,
Steve?
Yeah, correct. There's no, what I think is going to happen, and I may be a little bit off base, but I think because the states are so far behind in opening these exchanges, that I believe the employer mandate was already, right, a year set off. I believe the individual mandate will also be delayed for at least a year's time because the states are not ready. The HHS has not approved a lot of things the states have to have approved by October 1st. We're talking a very short period of time here before October 1st, and these exchanges are going to open. So I don't think they're ready.
October 1st, 2013.
Correct. We're very close to that. And if we allow these exchanges to open and we fund Obamacare on September 30th.
You know what? I want to hear more about that. You know what, though? I think Steve's going to be talking a little bit more about the exchanges and funding Obamacare.
Yes.
We're going to be going to a break, so you stay with us, grab some more coffee, come right back with us, and we'll be right back.